Thank you, Matt, and thank you everyone who's come out today for this wonderful event. The writing contest was absolutely amazing. As a writer, whenever you look at young people taking over the trade and being interested in something that you love so much, it always makes your heart feel good. And my heart felt good whenever they told me how many essays had come in. And thank you so much to our tireless team. Kate was one of them, absolutely wonderful, Kate McCullough, in organizing all of this, because I would not have wanted to undertake this myself at all. It was a big feat, and they did a wonderful job, so thank you very much. I have the honor today of introducing our keynote speaker for this entire event, John Dixon, which is the gentleman sitting over here to my right. He is the author of Phoenix Island. Phoenix Island was the inspiration for the CBS television series Intelligence. And I had first known John through Seton Hill University, where he was attending the Writing Popular Fiction Graduate Program, which is a program where I'm adjunct faculty and where I also graduated as well. So he's from Westchester, Pennsylvania. We were glad that he made the trip all the way across the state to join us as the keynote today. And he is going to introduce to you the student winners. And we also have on stage with us today David Slusorik. He is the Director of Development for the Pennsylvania Literary Festival. He was also one of my students whenever I taught high school, as was Matt. And beside him, we have Representative Deborah Kula, and she's going to help give out our awards. And then on the very end, we have Deputy Secretary of Education and the State Librarian, Stacy Aldrich. So we are very honored to have all of these distinguished people with us today. And we're very honored to have our student winners read from their essays as well. And I'm going to turn it over to John at this point. He's going to explain a little bit about the process.
Hi. I taught school for a really long time, and my favorite part of teaching was to work with young writers, because I learned a secret early on in my teaching career that kids write better stories than adults do. Kids, when you write essays and stories, you come straight from the heart and come up with the type of creativity that I don't think we always can do as adults. So I love reading the stories and essays of young writers. And I'm excited for the winners who've shown up here today. So the background on why we're all here: the Pennsylvania Literary Festival Essay Contest was open to all kindergarten to 12th grade students in Pennsylvania. It's pretty cool. Students submitted a photo they had taken in a one-page essay, fiction or nonfiction, related to that photo. Age divisions were elementary, middle, and secondary, and 3 students in each grade division will receive a prize. Excerpts from the 10 winning entries will also be published in the Pennsylvania Literary Festival magazine and online at palitfest.com. The entries will also be sent to several libraries where they'll be displayed. We're honoring the winners here at the Uniontown Mall on May 31st. I think it's really exciting for all you young writers who are winners here to be getting published at this young age and to have your stuff shown at libraries. I mean, that's great. You're way ahead of the game. Congratulations. So we'll start off with our elementary age division, and in first place we have Nico Kita from 3rd grade, Southside Elementary, and his entry was The History of Kennywood and My Family Tradition.
It's all right, I did that earlier. How's that?
Good. Kennywood started on an Kennywood started on Anthony Kenny's farm in 1898 as a trolley park. This was also the site of the Battle of the Monongahela, where General Edward Braddock was killed in 1755. Now the area is called West Mifflin. Anthony Kennywood's farm was rented by the Monongahela Street Railway Company that was going to be used for an amusement park that was going to be connected to Pittsburgh by a trolley line. In 1906, the park was later sold to F.W. Henninger and Andrew McSwiggan, and they called it Kennywood Entertainment Company. The new company was a family business for over 100 years. In 2007, Kennywood was brought by Palace Entertainment, which is a California company. This company is owned by a larger company in Spain called Parque Reunidos. In the original Kennywood, George Davison made Kennywood's Old Mill Ride in 1901. The first roller coaster was the Figure 8 Toboggan that was built in 1902. In the first 50 years, Kennywood had swimming pools and dancing halls. Kittyland was made and was one of the first kid ride areas in the world. Kittyland was originally made next to the Jackrabbit, but was moved where it is now in 1927. Popular rides in the park are the Whip, made in 1918, and the Jackrabbit was made in 1920. The Racers, the Turtle, the Grand Carousel were all made in 1927. The Auto Race was made in 1930. Noah's Ark was made in 1936. The Thunderbolt was made in 1968. Logjammer was made in 1975. Raging Rapids was made in 1985. The Phantom Revenge was made in 2001, and the Skyrocket was made in 2010. Some rides that were in Kennywood but were taken out were the Flying Carpet, Ghost Ship, Gold Rusher, and the Laser Loop. Lost Kennywood was added in 1995. Kennywood was made a U.S. National Historic Landmark in 1987. I enjoy going to Kennywood every year with my family. I've been going since I was 2 years old. It's been a family tradition for years now. Now that I'm older, I like to ride the big roller coasters such as the Phantom's Revenge, Skyrocket, and the Exterminator. I hope to take all my family and kids there to Kennywood someday. Kennywood is fun for everyone of all ages.
Good job. Hey, you got your Nico. Yeah. Get your award. Good job. Good job, Nico. Now we're moving on to the middle age division. And we're going to start with the second place winner there, and that is Emily Petro with her essay, Conversations Are Relevant. She's in the 8th grade at St. John the Evangelist Regional Catholic School. I don't think that Emily is with us today. Emily? Okay, but let's give her a round of applause anyway. In 3rd place for the middle-aged division, we have Luke Michael Asoff with his story, The Cube. He's also an 8th grader, and he goes to St. John the Evangelist Regional Catholic School. Not here. I hear it's a good story. I do. And a round of applause for Luke. Honorable mention in the middle-aged division, we have Marcel Amador Boyd with Colors. Marcel is also an 8th grader at St. John the Evangelist Regional Catholic School. Is Marcel here? Not here. Well, let's have a round of applause for Marcel. Before completing the middle age division, because we have somebody special to mention there, we're going to move on to the secondary age division. And in 1st place, we have Nicholas Podlegar and his essay, The Grand Soliloquy of Life. Nicholas is in 10th grade at Albert Gallatin High School. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good afternoon. All right. The sun smiles on a child hitting his first home run with his father. Raindrops fall on a woman as she crosses the screeching road, and snow falls like feathers on a hearse carrying a weeping family's loved one away. Throughout history, this grand soliloquy has been playing out, rising and falling like the ebb and flow of the waves of the ocean. It never calms. Its words show life's inner thoughts, and we are the attentive audience. We are the ones receiving this grand speech, full of life and death, sorrow, joy, mourning, passion, thrill, and love. We cannot stop the flow. We cannot subdue the passion of this grand march of time. It goes on, never pausing, never minding those that fail to keep up with its fast pace. Like a character entranced in fury or impassioned with lust, the audience can do no more than to follow this speech as it moves people, inspires thousands, and captures the hearts of those receiving it. But all is not lost. Just as the character's emotions change as quickly as the hands of time, so do the emotions being played out in this grand soliloquy of life. Blink, and it's changed. Mourning becomes joy and new life, and shouts of joy turn to weeping at the loss of someone dear. Macbeth was only partially right when he lamented, "All our yesterdays have lighted fools, the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle, life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Life is a candle, sometimes blown out too soon, taken by the wind to a place none have ever known, and yet sometimes burned until the wick lasts no longer and gives out to smoke and to smolder. Life may seem to be an illusion, just a shadow on the sidewalk, something to be seen that doesn't really exist. But let me tell you, this grand soliloquy exists for a reason. It exists because it has to, for our lives, without meaning, cease to exist. Our very natures exist on the promise of the future that what we do today will somehow, some way, affect our lives tomorrow. If this is lost, all is lost. If the character stops the speech mid-stride, then we lose all meaning behind the play. The playwright does not merely write the play for the long hours, for the restless nights, or for the weary actors. They write for you and for me, to tell us a story, to reveal our tragic flaws, to persuade us to change our world, and to show us the very natures of humans themselves. We are included in and implored to listen to this grand soliloquy because we must have it. If the speech stopped, we would stop. Its passions mark the grand events of time, tales of tragedies and stories of triumph. If this soliloquy were to be summed up, I believe Shakespeare says it flawlessly. All the world's the stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. We're on a stage. Everyone is watching us. Children watch their parents and copy their actions. Employees watch their bosses and copy their work ethic. And adults watch other adults and point out their flaws. It is our responsibility to follow this design of this grand soliloquy and to move with its flow. It makes the rain fall equally on the just and the unjust. It forgives the iniquities of thousands, and it loves its audience. Each play has its end. It occurs at the perfect moment. It happens how the playwright intended, and the ending is never futile. The audience always leaves the ending as it is, never interfering, and it always leaves the theater with the sense of purpose for going there, whatever the purpose may be. Truly, I say to you, this grand soliloquy will play until its end. There is purpose in it, and you are a part of it. Only one question remains: what part will you play? Because nothing, absolutely nothing, is more sorrowful than an actor who has forgotten his potential, or one who has forgotten that he has the power to change everything. Who will you choose to be? Because that's the great thing about this story. We all have a choice.
That was fantastic. I hadn't read it before, so it was really great to sit here and listen to it. And so, I mean, that was really great. You better keep writing, okay, for other people, if not for yourself. Now, moving on. Second place in the state for the secondary age division, we have Caitlin Podliger with Old Glory. She is a 10th grader at Albert Gallatin High School. Come on up, Caitlin. Congratulations.
Thank you. It has 50 white stars and 3 in red white stripes. It hangs proudly over buildings, parks, and national landmarks. It's the American flag. This small piece of cloth made by Betty Ross is what changed our country forever. It united us together. We were no longer under the control of Britain or anyone else but an independent country. We had our own government, principles, and philosophy. It was a symbol that no matter what difference we face, we all have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Too many Americans have lost that sense of pride in the American flag. The American flag is a symbol of national pride and devotion to one's country. We battled against the British and overcame the odds to defeat them and gain our freedom. Yet all that kids and adults hear about our flag or freedom is a paragraph or two in a history textbook or an article in a newspaper after a catastrophe. We mustn't forget why the flag is even displayed or why we even have holidays celebrating the flag. Men and women left home to fight for our flag, and some even died for it. Shouldn't we, as fellow Americans, take pride in our flag? We celebrate Veterans Day, President's Day, 4th of July, the list goes on. These days are set aside to think back and remember the sacrifices made by the men and women before us. Today, however, countless Americans don't celebrate in that way. They are days set aside to get out to-do lists done and maybe have some fireworks and barbecued food at the end of the day. The American flag is mentioned in these holidays as a casual conversation, but nothing more. What if we got back to the way things were when we first made that American flag, when it was first revealed so many years ago? That boastful pride that made us proud to be American. How great it must have felt. The American flag symbolizes so much: our freedom, our pride, what our country is based on. From 1776 to 2014, it should be appreciated as much now as it was back then. Every day we do something involving freedom, and every day it gets tossed to the side. Freedom isn't free, and the American flag should remind us every day of the valiant and honorable men and women who battled for it. The question is, what will we do with our American flag? Will we throw it aside or appreciate it as a symbol for strength and unity? After all, it starts with us.
All right, great job. And now we are moving on to, we're going to go back to the middle-aged division and honor the first place winner there, who's also the overall winner for the Pennsylvania Literary Festival Essay Contest. And she is Maren Krisner with her entry From the Bench. And she's an 8th grader at St. John the Evangelist Regional Catholic School. Maren? Maren. Sorry, it's Maren.
I sat on the bench that day because it was all I'd ever known. I never left the bench. I couldn't. For as long as I could remember, I would sit there and watch people. I used to wonder what people thought of me. They probably thought that I was homeless and lived on the bench. In a way, it was true. That's not what they thought of me, though. The truth was, they didn't think anything of me. They couldn't see me. Once I had figured that out, I became aware of many other things. For example, I had no idea who I was or who I had been. I could also tell people's futures just by looking at them. Nothing too vivid, just who they were, who they'd be, and how they'll die. I also realized that I couldn't leave the bench. Anytime I'd try, I'd just end up here again. I sat on the bench that day because it was all I'd ever known. The sky was predominantly cloudy, but that didn't stop some strong-willed drops of sunlight from shining through. It was late April. There were a few people out today, though many had chosen to stay inside to beat the inevitable rain. I personally applauded those few brave souls who dared to enjoy what was left of the lovely day before it was lost in a torrential downpour. I watched them as they walked by. There was a young couple around mid-20s, and the girl was pregnant. I smiled to myself, knowing that their little girl would be an internationally famous artist before she was 23. Not everybody had a happy ending, though. An older man walked by slowly. His wife was sick in the hospital. She would die within a week. I wished I could comfort him, but then I remembered my lack of physical form. I wished so much that I was visible, that someone could see me. I thought I was worth so much more than I'd been given. I could have done so much. Suddenly, 2 teenagers walked by, interrupting my train of thought. I immediately knew that they were 15, around the age I'd always imagined myself being. There was a boy and a girl. They were together, but it wouldn't last. They were about 6 feet past me when the girl turned around. "Why do you always sit on that bench?" she asked. I looked to my right and left. Maybe someone else had sat down, though it was unlikely. I didn't miss much. "I see you there every day." She was looking directly at me. "Emily, who are you talking to?" the boy asked, confused. She just ignored him. The girl, whose name I assumed was Emily, then sat down next to me. She had shoulder-length blonde hair and brown eyes. I sat on the bench that day because it was all I'd ever known. Now I sit there every day and talk to my best friend, the only person in the world who knows that I exist.
And as you saw there, as our overall contest winner, Marin won a Kindle Fire HD. Congratulations. All of the prizes and awards for our winners today were presented in part by the Fayette Chamber of Commerce. We thank them for their sponsorship of the essay contest. We thank everyone for their entries, and we encourage you to take a look behind the children's activity area and stage right in front of Timeless Traditions Furniture Store. There is a display with all of the entries there and a lot of really impressive writing. Congratulations, and I hope you all will continue to pursue your writing. I want to thank John Dixon as well as Heidi Ruby Miller for assisting in the presentation today. Want to thank Representative Deborah Kula as well as Deputy Secretary of Education, State Librarian Stacy Aldrich for being here, for lending their support and being a part of our literary festival. Thank all of you, and please check out our full schedule for the day. It's if you got a giveaway bag. If you haven't gotten a giveaway bag, you want to stop in the former bank branch and pick one up. There's a lot of freebies in there, as well as a printout schedule of the full weekend's events. But as I said, it's also a blown-up version. A large version is there on the sign and also next to our Learning and Information Center doors. So thank you all again, and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.